Hello there. You're feeling discouraged, aren't you? Like maybe you're on the wrong path. Like maybe you're not supposed to be doing this. Like maybe all this difficulty means you should quit. Because it's hard. Really hard. Harder than you expected. Harder than it seems to be for other people. And you're starting to think that the difficulty itself is a sign. A sign that you're going the wrong way. A sign that this isn't meant for you. A sign that you should give up. You look at others who seem to be succeeding easily, who make it look effortless, who don't seem to struggle the way you're struggling. And you think, if it's this hard for me, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm on the wrong path. Maybe I should quit. And you're tired. Tired of the struggle. Tired of the obstacles. Tired of things being so difficult. Tired of feeling like you're pushing a boulder uphill while everyone else is gliding down smooth roads. So you're here, discouraged, questioning everything, wondering if you should give up, wondering if the universe is trying to tell you something, wondering if difficulty means you're doing it wrong. Take a breath with me. Just one breath. And as you exhale, release some of that discouragement, some of that doubt, some of that feeling that difficulty equals wrongness. Let your shoulders drop. Let your body soften. Let yourself be here, struggling, without immediately making it mean you should quit. Tonight, we're going to talk about something important, about difficulty, about struggle, about hard paths, and most importantly, about how difficulty doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Because here's the truth. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Just because you're struggling doesn't mean you should quit. Just because it's difficult doesn't mean this isn't your path. Hard things are hard. That's what makes them worth doing. That's what makes them meaningful. That's what makes them transformative. The difficulty isn't a sign you're wrong. It's often a sign you're growing. But you've been interpreting difficulty as a stop sign, as the universe telling you, no, not this way, as evidence that you're not meant for this. And that interpretation is making you want to give up, making you question everything, making you feel discouraged and defeated. So tonight, let's challenge that interpretation. Let's explore what difficulty actually means. Let's understand why hard doesn't equal wrong. Let's find the courage to keep going even when it's difficult. Because your path is allowed to be hard. You're allowed to struggle. You're allowed to find it difficult. And none of that means you're on the wrong path. None of that means you should quit. None of that means you're failing. It just means you're doing something hard, something challenging, something worth doing. And hard things require struggle. That's normal. That's expected. That's part of the journey. So don't give up. Don't let difficulty discourage you. Don't interpret struggle as wrongness. You're not on the wrong path. You're just on a hard path. And hard is different than wrong. You know why you think difficulty means you're on the wrong path? Because you've been sold a lie. The lie that if something is meant for you, it will be easy. That if you're on the right path, things will flow effortlessly. That struggle means you're going the wrong direction. But that's not true. That's not how growth works. That's not how achievement works. That's not reality. It's a comforting fantasy that makes people feel better about not trying hard things. Real growth is uncomfortable. Real achievement requires struggle. Real progress involves difficulty. The things worth doing are hard. That's what makes them worth doing. Think about it. Learning anything new is hard. Building anything meaningful is difficult. Creating anything worthwhile requires struggle. Developing any skill involves obstacles. That's not a sign it's wrong. That's just the nature of growth and achievement. You didn't learn to walk easily. You fell repeatedly. You struggled. Was that a sign walking wasn't meant for you? No. It was just the process of learning to walk. You don't develop expertise without difficulty. You don't master skills without struggle. You don't achieve goals without obstacles. The difficulty is part of the process, not a sign you're on the wrong path. Part of the journey of getting where you want to go. But somewhere, you got the message that things should be easy. That if you're meant to do something, it will feel effortless. That struggle means stop. And that message is wrong. It's setting you up for discouragement, for quitting, for giving up when things get hard. Because things will get hard. Always. Every worthwhile path has difficulty. Every meaningful goal requires struggle. Every important journey involves obstacles. That's not a bug. It's a feature. It's how growth happens. It's how achievement works. So when you encounter difficulty, when you face obstacles, when things feel hard, that's not the universe telling you to quit. That's not a sign you're on the wrong path. That's not evidence you should give up. That's just hard things being hard. That's just growth being uncomfortable. That's just the normal, expected, completely appropriate difficulty that comes with doing something worth doing. The difficulty isn't a stop sign. It's a mile marker. It shows you're making progress. You're pushing boundaries. You're growing beyond where you were. The discomfort is proof of expansion, not evidence of wrongness. So stop interpreting difficulty as a sign to quit. Stop thinking struggle means you're on the wrong path. Stop believing that hard equals wrong. Hard equals hard. That's it. Hard things are hard. Difficult paths are difficult. Challenging journeys are challenging. That doesn't make them wrong. It makes them worthwhile. Easy paths don't lead to growth. Comfortable journeys don't create transformation. Effortless processes don't build character or capability. The difficulty is necessary. It's part of what makes the destination meaningful. So you're struggling. Good. That means you're doing something worth doing. You're facing obstacles. Good. That means you're pushing beyond your comfort zone. It's hard. Good. That means it matters. Don't interpret difficulty as wrongness. Interpret it as growth, as progress, as evidence you're doing something meaningful. Hard doesn't mean wrong. Hard means worthwhile. Now let's talk about comparison. Because part of why you're discouraged is that you're comparing your difficult journey to others' seemingly easy paths. You see someone succeeding at what you're struggling with. They make it look effortless. They seem to glide through obstacles that stop you. They appear to achieve easily what you're fighting for. And you think, it's easy for them, so hard for me. That must mean I'm not meant for this. But here's what you're not seeing. You're not seeing their struggle, their obstacles, their difficulties. You're seeing their results, their public presentation, their highlight reel, not their behind-the-scenes struggle. That person who makes it look easy, they struggled. They just don't show you that part. That person who seems to succeed effortlessly, they worked hard. They just don't broadcast the work. That person who appears to have it all figured out, they don't. They just present confidence while privately struggling. Everyone struggles. Everyone faces difficulty. Everyone encounters obstacles. Some people just hide it better. Some people just present differently. Some people just don't share the hard parts. So you're comparing your full reality to their curated presentation. Your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. Your internal struggle to their external success. And of course you feel discouraged. Of course it seems like you're the only one struggling. Because you're not seeing their struggle. But it's there. They struggled to get where they are. They're struggling now with things you don't see. They'll struggle in the future. Everyone does. Struggle is universal. Difficulty is part of every journey. You're not alone in finding it hard. And here's another thing. Different doesn't mean wrong. Your path is different from theirs. Your obstacles are different. Your timeline is different. Your journey is uniquely yours, and that's okay. Just because your path is harder doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because your timeline is longer doesn't mean you're failing. Just because your obstacles are different doesn't mean you should quit. Your path is yours, with its own challenges, its own timeline, its own lessons. And comparing your path to someone else's completely different path, that doesn't give you useful information. It just discourages you. So stop comparing. Stop measuring your journey against theirs. Stop thinking that because it's harder for you, you're on the wrong path. Your path is different. Not wrong, just different. They have their journey. You have yours. They face their obstacles. You face yours. They have their timeline. You have yours. None of that comparison is useful. It just creates discouragement. So focus on your own path, your own progress, your own growth. Are you further than you were? Are you learning? Are you growing? Are you moving toward what you want? That's what matters, not how you compare to others. Your journey is yours. It's allowed to be hard. It's allowed to be different. It's allowed to take longer. None of that makes it wrong. It just makes it yours. So stop comparing. Stop using others' journeys as evidence against your own. Stop letting their seemingly easy path discourage you from your difficult one. They're on their path. You're on yours. Both are valid. Both involve struggle. Both are exactly what they're supposed to be. Just trust your own journey instead of comparing it to theirs. Here's something important about obstacles, about setbacks, about things going wrong. These aren't signs you're on the wrong path. They're part of every path, every journey, every process of achievement. You encounter an obstacle and you think, this is a sign. The universe is telling me to stop. This wouldn't be happening if I was on the right path. But that's not what obstacles mean. Obstacles are just obstacles. They're part of the journey, not detour signs. Just challenges to navigate. Every successful person faced obstacles. Every achievement required overcoming setbacks. Every journey involved things going wrong. Obstacles don't discriminate between right and wrong paths. They're just part of doing difficult things. So when you encounter obstacles, when things go wrong, when setbacks happen, that's not the universe telling you to quit. That's just the normal, expected challenges that come with doing anything worth doing. The question isn't, are there obstacles? There always will be. The question is, am I willing to navigate them? Am I committed enough to figure out how to get past them? Is this important enough to keep going despite difficulty? If yes, then keep going. The obstacles don't mean you're wrong. They just mean you need to problem solve, to adapt, to find a way through or around. They're challenges to overcome, not signs to stop. But you've been interpreting every difficulty as a message, every obstacle as a sign, every setback as the universe telling you no. And that interpretation is making you want to quit, making every challenge feel like a stop sign. So change the interpretation. Obstacles aren't stop signs. They're just obstacles. Problems to solve, challenges to navigate, difficulties to overcome. They're part of the journey, not evidence you're on the wrong journey. When you encounter an obstacle, instead of, "This is a sign I should quit," try, "This is a challenge I need to navigate. How do I get past this? What do I need to learn or do or change to overcome this obstacle?" Shift from interpreting obstacles as cosmic no's to seeing them as problems to solve. From thinking difficulty means wrongness to understanding difficulty means challenge. From wanting to quit to wanting to figure it out. That's the difference between people who achieve difficult things and people who give up. Not the absence of obstacles, but the interpretation of them. Are obstacles signs to stop, or challenges to overcome? Successful people see obstacles as challenges, problems to solve, difficulties to navigate. Not signs they're on the wrong path, just normal, expected challenges on their chosen path. So when obstacles come, and they will, don't immediately think you should quit. Think about how to navigate them, how to solve the problem, how to overcome the challenge, how to adapt and continue. The obstacle doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you have a challenge in front of you, a problem to solve, a difficulty to navigate. That's all. Not a cosmic sign, just a challenge. And you can overcome challenges. You've done it before. You can do it again. So stop interpreting obstacles as signs to quit. Start seeing them as challenges to overcome. Stop letting setbacks discourage you. Start using them as opportunities to problem solve and adapt. Stop thinking difficulty means wrongness. Start understanding difficulty is just part of the path. Obstacles happen on every path, right or wrong. They're not the sign. Your commitment, your values, your desire, that's the sign. If this matters to you, keep going, despite obstacles, despite difficulty, despite setbacks. Keep going. Now let's talk about your why. about why you started this journey, why you chose this path, why it matters to you. Because when you're discouraged, you forget your why. You lose sight of why you started. And without your why, difficulty feels meaningless. Why did you start this? What drew you to this path? What made you think, yes, this is what I want to do? What were you hoping to achieve, to become, to create? What mattered enough to start? That's your why. That's your purpose. That's what makes the difficulty worthwhile. And when you're discouraged, when difficulty makes you want to quit, you need to reconnect with your why. Because your why doesn't disappear just because things get hard. The reason you started doesn't become invalid just because you're struggling. The goal doesn't stop mattering just because obstacles appear. Your why is still there, still valid, still important, still worth pursuing. The difficulty doesn't change that. It just makes you forget it, makes you focus on the struggle instead of the purpose, on the obstacles instead of the goal. So reconnect with your why. Remember why you started, why this matters, what you're working toward, what you hope to achieve or become or create. That's what makes the difficulty worthwhile. That's what gives meaning to the struggle. When you remember your why, difficulty becomes bearable because it's not meaningless struggle. It's purposeful struggle. It's hard, but it's hard for a reason. It's challenging, but the challenge serves a purpose. You're not just suffering. You're working toward something that matters. That changes everything. Meaningless difficulty is unbearable, but purposeful difficulty is endurable. The same level of challenge feels different when you remember why you're doing it, when you connect the struggle to the purpose. So what's your why? Why does this matter? What are you working toward? Why did you start? What will achieving this give you, create for you, make possible for you? Who do you want to become through this process? What do you want to accomplish? What difference do you want to make? That's your why. Hold on to that, especially when things get hard, especially when you're discouraged, especially when you want to quit. Remember why you're doing this. Let that purpose fuel your perseverance. Let that meaning sustain you through difficulty. Because you're not just struggling randomly. You're not enduring difficulty for no reason. You're pursuing something that matters to you. You're working toward something meaningful. You're building toward a goal that you value. That's worth struggle. That's worth difficulty. That's worth obstacles. Not because struggle is fun, but because the goal is meaningful. The purpose is important. The outcome matters enough to make the difficulty worthwhile. So when discouragement comes, when difficulty makes you want to quit, reconnect with your why. Remember why you started, why this matters, what you're working toward. Let that purpose sustain you. Let that meaning fuel you. Let that why give you reason to keep going. The difficulty doesn't mean you're on the wrong path, but disconnecting from your why makes it feel meaningless. So stay connected. Remember why. Let that purpose carry you through the hard parts. Let that meaning make the struggle worthwhile. You started for a reason. That reason still exists. That purpose still matters. That why still validates the difficulty. So hold on to it. Remember it. Let it sustain you. Your why makes the hard worthwhile. Here's something you need to understand about progress. It's not linear. It's not smooth. It's not steady upward movement. Progress is messy, uneven. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's normal. That's how progress actually works. But you expect linear progress. You expect that if you're on the right path, you'll move steadily forward, consistently improve, always get better. And when progress is uneven, when you have setbacks, when you seem to move backward, you think, I'm on the wrong path. This isn't working. I should quit. But uneven progress doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It means you're experiencing normal progress, real progress, human progress, which is always messy and uneven. You'll have good days and bad days, breakthroughs and setbacks, progress and regression, learning and forgetting, growth and stagnation. That's normal. That's how humans actually develop and improve and grow. The path to achievement isn't a straight line upward. It's a squiggly line with ups and downs, forwards and backwards, progress and setbacks. And all of that is normal, expected, part of the process. So when you have a setback, when progress stalls, when you seem to move backward, that's not a sign you're on the wrong path. That's just the reality of progress. The normal ups and downs of growth. The expected messiness of development. Don't let uneven progress discourage you. Don't interpret setbacks as wrongness. Don't think that because progress isn't linear, you should quit. Progress is never linear. For anyone, on any path. That's just how growth works. What matters isn't whether progress is smooth. It's whether there's overall movement toward your goal. Are you further than you were 6 months ago? A year ago? Even with setbacks? Even with the back and forth? Is there overall progress, even if it's messy? Probably, yes. You're probably further along than you were. You've probably learned things, grown in ways, developed capabilities you didn't have before. Even with setbacks, even with the messiness, there's probably been real progress. So stop expecting linear progress. Stop thinking smooth upward movement is the only valid kind of progress. Stop letting setbacks make you think you're on the wrong path. Progress is messy. Growth is uneven. Development involves setbacks. That's normal. That's expected. That's how humans actually improve and grow and achieve. So measure progress differently, not by smooth upward movement, but by overall direction. Are you generally moving toward your goal, even with ups and downs, even with setbacks? Is there overall growth, even if it's uneven? If yes, you're making progress. Real progress, human progress, messy progress, but progress nonetheless. And messy progress is still progress. Uneven growth is still growth. 2 steps forward, 1 step back still moves you forward overall. So don't let the messiness discourage you. Don't let uneven progress make you want to quit. Don't interpret setbacks as signs you're on the wrong path. This is what real progress looks like. Messy, uneven, but still moving you forward. You're progressing, even if it doesn't feel smooth, even if there are setbacks, even if it's messier than you expected. You're still moving forward. Still growing, still making progress toward what you want. So keep going. Through the messy progress, through the uneven growth, through the setbacks. Keep going. You're on your path, making progress, even when it doesn't feel like it. You're moving forward. Trust that. Believe that. Let me tell you what happens when you keep going despite difficulty, when you push through discouragement, when you don't quit just because it's hard. You get stronger, not physically necessarily, but mentally, emotionally, psychologically. You develop resilience, perseverance, grit. You become someone who can handle difficulty, who doesn't quit when things get hard, who pushes through obstacles. That's valuable. That capability, that strength. You're building it right now. Through this difficulty, through this struggle, through choosing to keep going when it's hard. You're developing capacities you'll have for life. You get closer to your goal, obviously. Every day you don't quit is a day closer to achieving what you want. Every obstacle you overcome moves you forward. Every challenge you navigate brings you nearer to your destination. Even when progress feels slow, even when setbacks happen, even when it's hard, you're still moving forward, still getting closer, still making progress toward what you want, as long as you don't quit. You learn things about yourself, about your capability, about your commitment, about what you're actually made of. You discover you're stronger than you thought, more capable than you believed, more committed than you knew. That self-knowledge is valuable. Knowing yourself, your capabilities, your strength, your commitment. You only learn that through difficulty, through pushing past where you thought you could go, through continuing when you want to quit. You become the person who achieves difficult things, who doesn't quit, who perseveres, who accomplishes goals that require sustained effort and commitment. That identity is valuable. That's who you're becoming through this struggle, through this perseverance. And eventually, you achieve the goal. You reach the destination. You accomplish what you set out to do. And it's sweeter because it was hard, more meaningful because you struggled, more valuable because you persevered. Easy achievements don't feel as satisfying, don't mean as much, don't create as much pride or sense of accomplishment. It's the hard-won achievements that matter most, that you remember, that you're proud of, that define you. So all this difficulty, it's creating a more meaningful achievement. All this struggle, it's building a more valuable accomplishment. All this discouragement you're pushing through, it's making the eventual success more significant. That's what happens when you keep going. You get stronger. You get closer. You learn. You become. You achieve. All of that is waiting on the other side of continuing despite difficulty. On the other side of not quitting when it's hard. But you only get there if you keep going. If you push through discouragement. If you don't let difficulty convince you to quit. If you interpret struggle as part of the path, rather than evidence you're on the wrong path. So keep going through the difficulty, through the discouragement, through the obstacles. Keep going. What you're working toward is worth it. What you're becoming is valuable. What you'll achieve matters. The difficulty doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're doing something worth doing. Something that will be meaningful when you achieve it. Something that's making you stronger as you pursue it. So don't quit. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Not because it feels good, but because it matters. Not because difficulty disappeared, but because you're committed despite difficulty. Keep going. You're on your path. Your difficult, challenging, worthwhile path. And it's exactly what it should be. Hard. Meaningful. Transformative. Yours tonight. Tonight, as you lie here discouraged, ready to give up, questioning if you should continue, I want you to do something. I want you to reconnect with your path, with why you started, with what you're working toward. Take a breath, and as you exhale, release some of the discouragement, some of the doubt, some of the feeling that difficulty means wrongness. Now remember, why did you start this journey? What called to you? What made you think, yes, this is what I want? What were you hoping for? What did you dream of achieving or becoming or creating? That's still there. That reason, that hope, that dream. The difficulty hasn't erased it. The struggle hasn't made it invalid. The obstacles haven't changed the fact that this matters to you. So reconnect with it. Feel it. Remember why this is your path. Why you chose this. Why it matters. Not because it's easy, but because it's meaningful. Because it aligns with who you are and who you want to become. Now think about progress. Real progress. Messy progress. Are you further than you were when you started? Have you learned things, grown in ways, developed capabilities, even with setbacks, even with difficulty? Is there real progress? Probably yes. You're probably not where you started. You've probably grown, learned, developed. You're probably closer to your goal than when you began. Even if progress has been messy, even if it's been hard, there's probably been real movement forward. Acknowledge that. I've made progress, even through difficulty, even with setbacks. I'm further than I was. I've grown. I'm developing. I'm moving toward what I want. Say it. Recognize it. Honor your progress, even when it's been difficult. Now think about continuing, about not quitting, about pushing through this discouragement. What would that make possible? Who would you become? What would you achieve? What would future you be grateful for? Future you, having achieved this goal, having become the person who doesn't quit when things get hard, having developed the resilience and strength that come from persevering through difficulty. That future you is grateful you didn't quit tonight. Grateful you kept going. Grateful you trusted the path, even when it was hard. So decide. Not based on whether it's easy, not based on whether difficulty has disappeared, but based on whether this still matters. Whether you're still committed, whether you still want what you were working toward. If yes, keep going. Tomorrow, next week, next month, keep going. Through difficulty, through discouragement, through obstacles. Keep going because it matters, because you're committed, because quitting doesn't serve the person you're becoming. The path is hard. That's okay. Hard doesn't mean wrong. Hard means worthwhile. Hard means you're growing. Hard means what you're working toward matters enough to require real effort. So trust your path, even when it's difficult, even when you're discouraged, even when you want to quit. Trust that difficulty is part of the journey, not evidence you're on the wrong journey. Just part of your unique, challenging, worthwhile path. You're not on the wrong path. You're on a hard path. And hard is different than wrong. Hard is just hard. And you can do hard things. You've been doing hard things. You can continue doing hard things. So rest tonight. Recover your strength. And tomorrow, keep going. Your path is waiting. Your goal is possible. Your growth is happening. Let me tell you what you need to believe right now. What's true, even when discouragement makes you doubt it. What remains real, even when difficulty makes you question everything. You're on your path. Your unique, individual, specifically yours path. It's not wrong. It's not a mistake. It's not something you should abandon. It's yours. And it's exactly what it should be. Difficult and worthwhile and transformative and yours. The difficulty is part of it, not evidence against it, not a sign to stop. Part of it. Part of what makes it meaningful. Part of what makes it yours. Part of what makes the eventual achievement significant. The difficulty is feature, not bug. Purpose, not problem. Part of the journey, not evidence you're on the wrong journey. You're capable of this. Even when you doubt yourself, even when it feels too hard, even when you want to quit, you're capable. You've proven that by continuing this far, by navigating obstacles you've already overcome, by persevering through difficulty you've already endured. You're capable. More capable than you realize. Progress is happening, even when you can't see it, even when it feels like you're stuck, even when setbacks occur. There's real progress, real growth, real development. You're different than when you started. Further along, more developed. Progress is real, even when it's invisible. This matters. What you're working toward matters. It's worth the difficulty, worth the struggle, worth the perseverance. It matters enough to keep going, enough to push through discouragement, enough to continue despite obstacles. This matters. Your goal matters. Your growth matters. Your journey matters. You're not alone. Everyone on difficult paths faces discouragement. Everyone pursuing worthwhile goals encounters obstacles. Everyone doing hard things wants to quit sometimes. You're not uniquely struggling. You're normally struggling. Humanly struggling. Your difficulty doesn't make you special or wrong. Just human, just on a challenging path. Just like everyone else pursuing difficult things. Keep going. That's what you need to do. Not because it's easy. Not because difficulty disappeared. Not because you're certain of success. But because this is your path. Because it matters. Because you're capable. Because progress is happening. Because quitting doesn't serve you. Keep going. Through difficulty. Through discouragement. Through doubt. Keep going. These truths, hold on to them, especially when discouragement whispers lies. When difficulty makes you doubt, when obstacles make you want to quit. Remember these truths. You're on your path. Difficulty is normal. You're capable. Progress is real. This matters. Keep going. That's what's true. That's what's real. That's what remains constant, even when feelings fluctuate. Even when discouragement comes. Even when you want to quit. These truths remain. You're on your path. It's hard. That's okay. Keep going. Believe that. Trust that. Live from that. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. On your difficult, worthwhile, uniquely yours path. And you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Continuing. Persevering. Growing. Moving forward. Despite difficulty. Despite discouragement. Despite obstacles. You're doing it right. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. So trust your path. Trust your capability. Trust that difficulty doesn't mean wrongness. Trust that you're exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to be doing. Trust your journey. It's yours. It's hard. It's right. Keep going. So here we are, at the end of our time together tonight. And I hope something has shifted for you. I hope you see that difficulty doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. That struggle doesn't mean you should quit. That just because it's hard doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. You've been discouraged, ready to give up, questioning everything, interpreting difficulty as a sign to stop. And I hope now you see differently. That difficulty is part of the journey, not evidence against it. Sleep tonight knowing that your path is allowed to be hard, that struggle is normal, that obstacles are expected, that difficulty doesn't mean wrongness. It means you're doing something worthwhile, something that matters, something that will transform you. Tomorrow, when discouragement comes again, and it will, remember what we talked about tonight. Difficulty doesn't mean wrong. Obstacles aren't stop signs. Uneven progress is still progress. Your why still matters. You're still capable. Keep going. Don't compare your difficult path to others' seemingly easy ones. Don't interpret every obstacle as a cosmic no. Don't let setbacks convince you to quit. Don't expect linear progress. Don't forget your why. Do trust your path. Do persevere through difficulty. Do problem-solve obstacles. Do acknowledge messy progress. Do reconnect with your purpose. Do believe you're capable. You're on your unique path, with its unique challenges, its unique timeline, its unique lessons. And all of that is exactly what it should be. Your path, your journey, your growth. Hard doesn't mean wrong. Hard means meaningful. Hard means transformative. Hard means worthwhile. So don't quit just because it's hard. Keep going because it's hard. Because hard things are worth doing. Because difficult paths lead to meaningful destinations. Because struggle creates strength. You're not on the wrong path. You're on a hard path. And that's okay. That's good. That's exactly what you need. Hard, challenging, transformative. Yours. So keep going. Tomorrow, next week, next month. Keep going. Through difficulty, through discouragement, through obstacles. Keep going, Because this is your path. Because it matters. Because you're capable. Because progress is happening. Because the person you're becoming is worth the struggle. There's a moment after every storm, a stillness that feels almost unfamiliar. After so much chaos, silence feels strange. After so much effort, rest feels undeserved. But that's where you are now, in the quiet that follows everything you've survived. You've been fighting for so long, pushing through doubt, through setbacks, through exhaustion. And maybe you don't even realize it yet, but you've grown stronger in the process. Not loud strength, not showy resilience, but quiet strength, the kind that stays. You've learned how to keep moving, even when you couldn't see the finish line. You've learned how to rebuild your hope, one small piece at a time. You've learned how to trust yourself again. Not because everything went right, but because you kept showing up when it didn't. That's what real strength looks like. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of endurance. Not perfection, but persistence. Now, as you stand here in the aftermath, you might not feel victorious. You might just feel tired. And that's okay. Rest isn't weakness. It's the natural next step of survival. Take a breath. Feel the ground beneath you. You're still here. Not untouched, but unbroken. Different, yes. Softer in some ways. Stronger in others. But still you. The storm didn't destroy you. It revealed you. It showed you what lasts when everything else is stripped away. It showed you what matters. It showed you who you are when there's nothing left to prove. So rest now. Not because the journey is over, but because you've earned a pause. You've earned gentleness. You've earned a moment to look around and realize you made it through. This quiet is not emptiness. It's renewal. It's the sound of your soul resetting, readying itself for whatever comes next. And when you're ready, you'll rise again. Not as who you were before the storm, but as who you became because of it. That's growth. That's grace. That's the quiet strength that follows the storm. Rose, you keep wondering if you're behind, don't you? If you've missed your moment. If everyone else is somehow further ahead, living, thriving, succeeding, while you're still here, waiting, unsure. You look at their milestones, their timelines, their perfect seeming progress, and you start to think something's wrong with you, that you're late, that you've fallen behind. that life forgot to include you in its plans. But what if you're not behind? What if you're right on time? For your life, not theirs. Because your story isn't supposed to unfold like anyone else's. Your growth has its own rhythm, its own pace, its own divine order. And trying to rush it won't make it happen faster. It'll only make you tired, frustrated, and disconnected from where you are now. Sometimes things take longer because you're learning something deeper. Because you're being shaped into the kind of person who can hold what you're asking for. Because the timing of your growth is aligning with something unseen, something sacred. Delays aren't denials. They're protection. They're preparation. They're pauses with purpose. So breathe. Stop racing imaginary clocks. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 10. Stop thinking you failed just because it's taking time. Time is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the space where wisdom grows, where patience strengthens, where faith deepens. You are not late. You're becoming. Every setback, every slow moment, every quiet season is shaping you, not punishing you. It's aligning you. Trust that. Trust that the timing of your life isn't working against you. It's unfolding for you in ways you might not understand yet. And when it finally comes together, when you arrive at the moment that's been waiting for you all along, you'll see why it took time. You'll see that nothing was wasted. Not the delays, not the detours, not the waiting. You're not late. You're right on time. Your timing is divine. There was a time you believed in yourself easily, when dreams felt possible, when confidence came naturally, when the idea of failure didn't scare you so much. But somewhere along the way, life got louder. You faced rejection. You tried and it didn't work. You cared and it didn't turn out the way you hoped. And little by little, belief started to slip away. Now you hesitate. You doubt your instincts. You question your worth. You hold back, not because you don't care, but because you're afraid of caring again. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of being hurt. But belief isn't something that disappears forever. It's something that waits, patiently, for you to remember it. Because you've never actually lost it. It's still there, underneath the fear, underneath the doubt, beneath the noise of old disappointments. It's quiet now, but not gone. You failed before. Everyone has. But failure doesn't mean you were wrong to try. It means you were brave enough to step forward when you could have stayed still. It means you dared to want something for yourself. And that's beautiful. That's courageous. That's belief in its rawest form. So maybe believing in yourself again doesn't mean feeling fearless. Maybe it just means deciding that you're still worthy of trying again, still worthy of new chances, still worthy of the life you want. You don't need to be certain to move forward. You just need a little faith. A quiet, gentle faith that says, I can begin again, even here. Belief doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it trembles. Sometimes it takes one small, shaky step forward and calls that enough. And it is enough. Because belief grows each time you honor it. Each time you trust yourself enough to keep going. Each time you remember that you are capable, even when you're scared. You've done hard things before. You've survived every ending so far. You can do this too. So take a breath, place your hand on your heart and remind yourself, I still believe in me. Maybe quietly, maybe imperfectly, but I still believe. And that tiny spark of belief is all you need to start again. Change has a way of arriving quietly at first. A soft whisper, a nudge in your chest that says, this no longer fits. But sometimes you ignore it. You cling to what's familiar, even when it hurts, because it feels safer than the unknown. And then one day, the whisper becomes a roar. The old life starts to crumble. The places that once felt like home begin to feel too small. The things that used to comfort you no longer do. That's how life asks you to grow. By gently, then urgently, asking you to let go. Letting go isn't failure. It's evolution. It's an act of love for who you've been and who you're becoming. You're allowed to outgrow people, places, and versions of yourself. You're allowed to set things down that used to define you. You're allowed to say, this isn't for me anymore, without guilt, without apology. Because holding on too tightly to what's meant to be released only keeps you stuck in what's already ending. Sometimes letting go looks like tears. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it's simply breathing and saying, I trust what's coming, even if I can't see it yet. And that's courage. To release what you once prayed to keep. To love something enough to let it change, even if that means losing it. When you let go with grace, you make room for what's next. New people, new places, new versions of yourself that couldn't exist in the old space. You don't have to rush the process. You don't have to force detachment. Just begin by loosening your grip, one small breath at a time. Say thank you for what was. Say goodbye to what no longer fits. Say yes to what's coming. Letting go isn't the end of your story. It's the turning of a page. And what's waiting on the next one might surprise you. Not because it's perfect, but because it finally feels right. For so long, you've lived in survival mode, always waiting for the next problem, the next loss, the next thing to go wrong. You've been alert, tense, prepared, like peace was a trap you couldn't trust. But what if peace wasn't something that could vanish? What if it was something inside you, waiting patiently beneath the noise, ready to be remembered? Peace doesn't come when life stops being hard. It comes when you stop fighting everything, when you stop resisting the moment you're in, when you breathe fully and allow yourself to be where you are, without needing to fix it right away. It's in the quiet moments you keep rushing past. The pause before you speak. The exhale between tasks. The sound of your own heartbeat reminding you that even in uncertainty, you're still alive. Peace isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with clarity or confidence. It slips in softly when you let go of needing control, when you stop demanding answers, when you allow life to unfold without forcing it. You don't have to chase it. You just have to stop running from it. Because peace isn't out there. Not in the next achievement. Not in someone else's approval. Not in the illusion of perfection. It's here, in this breath. If you slow down long enough to notice it. When fear rises, and it will, you don't have to silence it. You just have to breathe deeper than the fear. You just have to remind yourself, I can be calm here too. This is what healing sounds like now. Less fighting, more trusting. Less rushing, more being. Less noise, more listening. You've been strong for so long. Now it's time to be still. Not because you've given up, but because you've learned that stillness is a form of strength too. You don't have to earn your peace. You just have to allow it. Let yourself rest in it. Let it become your new normal. a home you return to again and again, no matter what the world demands. Because peace isn't something you find, it's something you remember, and you're remembering it now. You've come so far, further than you thought you could, through endings you didn't ask for, through lessons you didn't expect, through moments that almost made you give up. And now you stand here, somewhere between what was and what's next. This in-between can feel uncertain. You've outgrown the old life, but the new one hasn't fully arrived yet. You want clarity, direction, certainty. But all you have is the quiet whisper inside that says, keep going. And maybe that's enough, because your path won't always reveal itself all at once. Sometimes it shows up one step at a time, only lighting the next small patch of road. You don't get the whole map, you get trust. Trust that the next step will appear when it's time. Trust that you have what you need to take it. Trust that even if it's not clear, it's still right. You've already proven you can survive uncertainty. You've already shown you can move forward even without guarantees. So why stop now? The next chapter doesn't need you to have it all figured out. It just needs you to be willing to try again, willing to believe that there's still more meant for you, willing to take one small, brave step into the unknown. New beginnings rarely feel comfortable. They feel shaky, unpredictable, unsteady. But they're also alive with possibility. The unknown isn't just empty space. It's where your next becoming is waiting. So breathe. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't demand all the answers. Just take one step, then another. You don't have to see the whole path to keep walking it. You just have to trust that you're still being guided, not by fear, but by something deeper, something that's always led you here, your own quiet knowing. You've walked through endings. Now it's time to walk toward beginnings, not with certainty, but with trust. You're ready, even if it doesn't feel like it. You're ready for what's next. There are seasons in life when your purpose feels clear, when you wake up with direction, with energy, with that deep inner knowing, I'm meant to be here. And then there are other seasons, like now, when the meaning feels distant, the map looks blurred, and you wonder if you've wandered too far off course. But purpose isn't something you lose. It's something that shifts. It evolves as you do. It changes shape when you change. Maybe you've been searching for the same kind of purpose that once fit an older version of you. But you've grown. You've lived. You've outgrown the container that once held you. And that's not failure. That's evolution. Sometimes purpose hides in small things. A quiet act of kindness. A simple, creative moment. A breath of peace after chaos. Purpose doesn't always roar. Sometimes it hums softly beneath the surface, waiting for you to notice it again. You don't have to chase it. You just have to get still enough to hear it whisper, "I'm still here. I've just changed form." So ask yourself gently, what feels meaningful now? What brings me alive? What calls to me, even softly? Follow that. Follow the spark, even if it's small. That spark is direction. That spark is purpose. Reborn. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be true. True to who you are now. True to the life you're creating step by step. You're not lost. You're realigning. You're not behind. You're unfolding. You're not without purpose. You're in the quiet space before it fully reveals itself again. And when it does, you'll recognize it not by how loud it is, but by how peaceful it feels. Purpose feels like peace, like coming home to yourself again. So don't rush it. Don't force it. Just stay open. Keep living. Keep listening. Your purpose will meet you where you are, and it will fit the version of you that's been growing all along. For a long time, you've second-guessed yourself. You've questioned your instincts, diluted your truth, softened your voice so others would stay comfortable. You learned to measure your worth by how others responded, by how they perceived you, by whether your truth was convenient for them. And little by little, you started to lose the sound of your own voice. But here's the thing. It never disappeared. It's still there, quiet beneath all the noise of doubt and expectation. It's been whispering all along, waiting for you to remember the sound of your own knowing. That voice, your voice, is not arrogant. It's not selfish. It's not too much. It's wisdom born of experience, intuition shaped by honesty, truth carved from everything you've survived. You don't need permission to speak it. You don't need validation to trust it. You just need to start listening again. Confidence doesn't mean never feeling fear. It means acting in alignment even when fear is present. It means choosing your truth over your need to please. You've spent enough time trying to be understood. Now it's time to understand yourself, to know what feels right, and to stand gently but firmly inside that knowing. At first, your voice may shake. You might doubt yourself. You might feel the old urge to shrink. That's okay. Keep speaking anyway. Keep choosing honesty over silence. Keep returning to yourself. Because every time you listen to your intuition, you rebuild the bridge of trust between you and you. Every time you honor your boundaries, you remind yourself that you're safe inside your own truth. Your confidence doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being real. from knowing that your inner compass still works, even after being ignored. So take a deep breath. Ask yourself what feels true. Not what's expected, not what's safest, but what's real. Then follow that. Speak that. Trust that. Because your voice is not a disruption. It's a direction. It's your way home. You've always been good at giving. You know how to show up for others, to listen, to support, to pour your energy into the people you care about. You give love easily, freely, endlessly. But when it comes to receiving, that's harder, isn't it? When someone offers help, you say, "It's okay, I've got it." When someone gives you a compliment, you deflect it with a joke. When kindness comes your way, you shrink, unsure if you deserve it. You've learned somewhere along the way that love must be earned, that care must be reciprocated immediately, that receiving without giving back is selfish, or weak, or too much. But that's not true. Receiving is not taking. It's allowing. It's letting goodness meet you halfway. It's letting yourself be seen, not just as the strong one, but as the human one. The one who needs, who feels, who deserves too. When you close yourself off from receiving, you block the flow of life. You stop love in motion. Because love isn't meant to be one-directional. It's meant to move both ways. Let it move toward you. Let someone help you without apology. Let a kind word land in your heart and stay there. Let the universe surprise you with ease, with grace, with blessings that don't demand effort first. You don't have to prove yourself to earn love. You don't have to struggle to deserve rest. You don't have to give everything away to justify your worth. You are worthy already. Of care, of softness, of goodness. Receiving is part of balance. It's part of being open to life. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is let someone love you without trying to earn it. So breathe and open your hands. Say yes when kindness knocks. Let people show up for you. Let grace find you where you are. Because love isn't something you must chase. It's something you can allow. And when you finally let yourself receive, you'll realize you were never unworthy. You were just closed. Now, you're learning to open. And that changes everything. Meetings, here you are. After everything. After all the beginnings and endings, the detours and lessons, the doubts and rediscoveries. You've walked through fire and silence, through heartbreak and hope. You've learned to trust your path, even when it felt unclear. You've learned to stay, even when leaving felt easier. And somehow, through all of it, you've come home to yourself. Not the self who had all the answers, not the self who never stumbled, but the self who kept going, kept learning, kept believing, even when belief was quiet. This is what trust looks like now. Not certainty, but peace. Not perfection, but acceptance. Not knowing where every step leads, but knowing you'll handle it when you get there. You've built strength that doesn't shout. You've grown gentleness that doesn't break. You found courage in softness and wisdom in stillness. You are no longer fighting the journey. You're flowing with it. No longer chasing meaning. You're living it. No longer seeking permission. You're giving it to yourself. You've learned that your timing was never wrong, that every pause had purpose, that even the pain had meaning, that the road you took, with all its twists and quiet miracles, was never the wrong one, because it led you here, to this moment, to this version of you, wiser, softer, stronger, realer. You didn't get lost. You were being guided. You didn't fall behind. You were being prepared. You didn't fail. You were becoming. So take a deep breath. Look back with gratitude. Look forward with hope. And look inward with love. This is your path, your journey, your becoming. And it's been unfolding perfectly. Even through the hard parts, even through the waiting, even through the unknown. You made it here. And that means you can keep going. With trust, with grace, with quiet faith in yourself. Because your journey was never about getting somewhere. It was about becoming someone. And that someone is you. Good night, dear friend. Trust your journey, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You're on your path. Your difficult, worthwhile, uniquely yours path. And you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Continuing, persevering, growing. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing something worth doing. So keep doing it. Keep going. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Your path is yours. Hard and all. Beautiful and all. difficult and worthwhile and transformative and exactly what it should be. Trust it. Trust yourself. Keep going. The difficulty doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're growing. It means you're on a path that matters. It means you're becoming someone who doesn't quit when things get hard. So don't quit. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Not because it got hard. Keep going. Your path is waiting. Your goal is possible. Your growth is happening. Trust your journey. It's yours. It's hard. It's right. Keep going. Sweet dreams.